Hello everyone and welcome back to Sade Crochets. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and leave a comment if you like this video. And let's go ahead and jump in for this bikini top tutorial. And it's really more of a cup tutorial. You can use these cups for anything else besides a bikini. But I'm going to be using Yarn Bee Secret Soft in the color red. It is a medium weight 4 yarn. And then I'm going to be using a G hook, a 4mm hook. And the last thing you need is a pair of scissors. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is make our foundation chain. So we'll start off with a slip knot. And then we'll make our foundation chain. So for an A cup, you're going to chain out 17 chains. For a B cup, you'll do 19 chains. For a C cup, you'll do 20. For a D cup, you'll do 21. And for double D, you will do 23. So go ahead and make your foundation chain. And I am making a B cup today, so I did 19. Now, what we're going to do next is we are going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to double crochet into that stitch. So this chain 3 here is going to count as the first double crochet. So just count 4 away, 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over and double crochet into that 4th chain space, and that's for all the sizes. Okay, and then we're just going to put 1 double crochet into every chain space until we have 1 chain space left. So go ahead and double crochet all the way down until you have that 1 chain space left. So I went on ahead and double crocheted on down. At this point, an A cup should have 14 double crochets, including this chain 3 at the beginning. A B cup, you should have 16. C cup, you should have 17. A D cup should have 18. And a double D cup should have 20. So we did leave that one last chain space open so far, and what we're going to do is put 5 double crochets into this very last stitch. So yarn over and just put 5 there. 1, 2, 3, and it does open up. It does open up some because it's the first chain. 3, 4, and 5. So once you finish, just go ahead and close that back up, and then we're going to turn it along this way and work along the other side of the foundation chain. Now, the amount of double crochets you had on the other side before we did this 5, I know the B cup had 16, so I'm going to put that same amount on this side. So I'm going to put 16 double crochets on down, and you will put the same amount of double crochets in this other side of the foundation chain as you did on the first side. So go ahead and finish that step, and I'll meet you there and show you what's next. So it is important that you go ahead and count that out, because it looks like I did all of them, but it's only 15 and I need 1 more. So just make sure you count. So that is 16 there. And right now, this is what it looks like so far. And so from here, what we're going to do is chain 1 as a turning chain and turn our work. And in this very first stitch here, we're going to put 1 single crochet, and that is the only regular single crochet, because what's going to give us our ridge, we're going to do back post single crochets, but it's kind of hard to do a back post single crochet into the edge, into the first stitch on the edge. So the first one is just a regular single crochet, and then we're going to do a back post single crochet for the remainder of the row. So we're going to take our hook from behind and come under the stitch, under that stitch part, and then put the hook on the other side of that bar, and then we're going to pull that loop around to the back. So now you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and single crochet. So let's do another one together. We're going to take our hook from the back and come towards the front, and then we're going to bring that hook around the bar back to the back. Then we're going to pull up a loop and then single crochet. So we're going to put our hook from the back to the front around that bar and back to the back, and then pull our loop up, and then we'll have our 2 loops, yarn over, and single crochet. And you can see already it's kind of pushing the V from the previous stitching, is pushing that up towards the front, and that's what's going to give us our nice little ridges here. So it does take some getting used to, so you know, once you get used to it, you'll fly through this, but if it's a little hard, just keep practicing. But we're just going to kind of go around the bar from the back side. Bring your hook from the back to the front, and then bring it back to the back, and then pull up your loop and single crochet. So this is pretty much all we're doing for this round, is back post single crochets. We're going to go all the way around, 1 in every stitch, until we reach the end. So feel free to rewind the video if you need to practice this stitch. It's not that hard, but it is kind of more intermediate, I guess. It's not super beginner. So if you're a beginner, just go ahead and practice it. You'll get it eventually. Or you can look up how to do like double crochet, back post double crochets, because those are kind of easier because they're taller. But just keep practicing and make your way all the way around, and I will meet you there and show you what's next. Okay, so I have 2 stitches left, and make sure that you do this chain 3. That is a stitch for us. So I'm going to do my last 2 back post single crochets and 1 around my chain 3. All right, so once you finish your last back post double crochet, we're going to chain 2 and turn. So you can kind of see here, it looks like there's 2 sets of stitches here. The stitches facing you from the previous row are the double crochets being pushed forward by the back post single crochets. So when you turn, you're just going to use the single crochets, the back post single crochet stitches. So make sure you don't use the one in the front. Use these back here. And this chain 2 does count as a double crochet. So we're not going to double crochet in that first stitch because that's what the chain 2 is for. We're just going to double crochet into the next stitch, and we're going to double crochet on down until we reach this middle stitch down here. So just for your reference, and this is going to be including this chain 2 as a double crochet, in A cup you're going to make 16 double crochets total, and then you should be at your middle stitch. A B cup you'll need 18, and then you should be at your middle stitch. A C cup is 19, a D cup is 20, and a double D is 22. So go ahead and double crochet on down until you reach that middle stitch. Okay, I've done my 18 double crochets. And if you ever get lost, you can kind of go in here to this middle stitch and just count. It will be the third stitch of it. So I see that I hit the first 2, and then that's the middle one is the third one out of 5. So from here we're just going to repeat what we've been doing or what we did before, and put 5 double crochets into that middle stitch. 1, 2, uh-oh, this yarn splits so much, but I love it. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then from there we're just going to put 1 double crochet in every remaining stitch of this row, and it should be the same number that you had on the first side. So I had 18, so I should have 18 here outside of this middle stitch where we did 5. So go ahead and finish this row, and I will meet you at the end of this row. All right, I just have 1 stitch left here. 1 more double crochet, and that is 18 for me. And you can see on the back side it's smooth, but on the front side we have that ridge now. And I mean, it looks prettier in person, not on the camera. But anyway, so from here what we're going to do is chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to do the same thing we just did in this previous row here. We're just going to put 1 single crochet into that very first stitch, and then we're going to go right back to our back post single crochets. And we're not going to do any increases in this back post single crochet row. We're just putting 1 in every stitch. So go ahead and go around this row with the back post single crochets, and I'll meet you at the end of this row and show you what's next. Alright, so I have 1 more back post single crochet around that chain 2, and that is the end of this row. So from here we're going to chain 2 and turn, and we're in the same spot where we were, so just make sure that you're using the row where your continuous working yarn is coming from. And that chain 2 again does count as a double crochet, so we're not going to use that first stitch, we're just going to double crochet into the second stitch. And it's a pretty simple pattern. We're just alternating between these 2 rows. If you need to, you can use a stitch marker to make sure that you hit that middle stitch, but you can just look at it and see 1 2 3 in either direction, or 1 2 3, and that's your middle stitch that you're going to put the 5 double crochets in. So basically, for cups A, B, and C, A, B, and C cups are going to repeat this until you have, so the last one was here. So this is the first round, the second, third, fourth, and fifth. So you're going to repeat this until you have 1 2 3 4 5 ridges. Okay, this part is separate. So 5 ridges. And let's see, a D cup, you're going to have 1 2 3 4 5 6 ridges. And then a double D, you're going to have 7. I haven't made that one. Or to make it a little bit easier to understand, A cup through C cup, you're going to do this for 10 rows. So the first row was this one where we went around. So that's 1 2 was the ridges, 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So go until you have 10 rows completed. A D cup, you're going to go until you have 12 rows completed. And a double D, I'm just going to make sure, but yes, you'll need 14 rows. So go ahead until that row is complete, and I'll meet you there and show you. Okay, I've completed row 10, and 10 rows was for A through C cup, and then D cup should have 12 rows, and a double D should have 14. So your last row should have been that last row of back post only double single crochets here. Now if you want, you can always hold this up against yourself and make sure that this is big enough for you, or if it's too big you can remove a row, or if it's too small you can always add a row. But from here we're going to start on our border. So it's just a really quick border that we're going to do. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and we're going to work in this single back post single crochet row like we've been doing. And we're just going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch. We're gonna put, so let's see, size for the A cup you're going to do 23 single crochets. A B cup you'll do 25. A C cup you'll do 26. A D cup will have 29, and a double D will have 33. So that won't get you to your center stitch, but it'll be the stitch right before the center, which is where we want to stop. So go ahead and do the amount of single crochets for your cup size, and I'll meet you there. All right, so you know that you're on the right stitch if you look at your 5 double crochets at the top. You should be on the second, you should stop at the first one, and the second one should be open there. So from there we're just going to chain 1. Now if you're not making, if you're just using this cup for another purpose and you're not making the swimsuit that I'm making, but you just want the cup, then you can just do single crochets across. But I'm just chaining 1 and skipping 1 stitch so that I have like a place for my straps for the bikini. So it's just depends on what you're using this for. But if you're making the bikini, go ahead and chain 1 and then skip that next stitch and then single crochet into the middle stitch. And I'm just going to mark that off because it's hard to see where that is. So I'm just going to put a stitch marker there. Okay, and then I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna chain one and skip that one stitch, and this single crochet should be in the last stitch of your 5 in the middle. And I'm just gonna mark that one off too, just so I know where my holes are. And then from there, we're just going to put one single crochet all the way down. And so I'll meet you at the end of this row when we get to the bottom. All right, so I have one stitch left, and that is my corner stitch there. So what you want to do in the corner is you want to put 3 single crochets into that same stitch so that we can turn the corner and work along the bottom. So 1, whoops, single crochets, 2 and 3. Okay, so now once you put 3 in your corner, you can turn so that you can work along the bottom. So now on the bottom side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 single crochets in the side of every double crochet row. So I'm just going to pick random spots. I always try to grab like 2 stitches if I can, or 2 little loops when I go through them. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. So that's all we're doing in this step, is we're going to be putting 2 single crochets in the side of every row, every double crochet row. We're not going to worry about the single crochet rows. You could barely see them because they were back posts. They're kind of like almost the same height as the double crochets, if that makes any sense. So we're just going to put 2 in the side of every row, but you're going to pick one row and add 3 to that one row, because we want this to have an odd number down here. And this is just for the bikini. If you're using this cup for something else, you can just go across and put 2 in every row. But I'm just going to pick one row to try to squeeze a third one so that I can have an odd number. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, that was a good one. And then for the rest of these, I'm just going to continue to put 2 single crochets in the side of every row. So I'll meet you when I get to the other side. Okay, so I've single crocheted 2 single crochets in the side of every row except the one I put 3. And then now I'm at my other corner. So in this corner stitch, I'm going to put, because we have 3 single crochets in this corner stitch, I'm going to put 2 more because we already have 1 here. So I'm just going to put 2 single crochets into that corner stitch, 1 and 2, and that'll make it 3 all together. And then I'm going to slip stitch into that last stitch, the first stitch of the border. And then from there I'm going to chain 1 and turn. So when you chain 1, make sure you don't go into that same stitch where your slip stitch is. We want to go into the next one over, which is part of the 1 and 2 that we put over there. We don't want to go into this one. So when you turn, just make sure you're not going into that slip stitch and go into the next one over. So I'm just going to single crochet across once more and just put 1 single crochet in every stitch. So go ahead and put 1 single crochet in every stitch until, so just like we did this side, we did the first 2 with a single crochet. So we're not going to do 3, we're just going to do the first 2 of that corner stitch over here, just like we did this side. So go ahead and finish this row and I'll show you what's. Okay, so I finished that row, and you just want to make sure that you have an odd number in this row if you're making the bikini that I'm making. So if you don't have an odd number, just go back and put an increase somewhere in these last few stitches so that you have an odd number. But from here, what we're gonna do is make like some small holes for the tie that goes around the under the bust area. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and turn. And that chain 3 counts as a half double crochet plus a chain 1. So we're not going to use this first stitch because our chain counts as a stitch, and then we're going to skip this next stitch and put a half double crochet into the following stitch. If my yarn decides not to split. Okay, so chain 1, skip 1, and half double crochet into the next stitch. So we're just making little empty chain spaces so that we have a place to weave in our string easily. Whoops. Skip 1, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet. So that's why I just wanted an odd number to be at the bottom, because I wanted to put this stitching pattern here, which requires an odd number for it to end in your last stitch. So go ahead and continue this pattern until the end of the row. And I have just one more chain 1 and one more half double crochet. There we go. And from here, what we're going to do is chain 1 and turn. And we're just going to solidify this bottom base here and just go across with single crochets. So I'm going to single crochet on top of the half double crochet, and then single crochet into the empty chain space. Single crochet on top of the half double crochet, and then single crochet into the empty chain space. So that's pretty much the pattern here that we're doing. So you can just go ahead and repeat that until the end of the row, and I will meet you there. So I just have my, I single crocheted on top of this half double crochet, and this is kind of like a chain 3. So I'm just going to put 2 single crochets around that, so I don't have to really, it's not really a half double crochet. So 2 single crochets at the end, and then we can chain 1 and cut and tie off. Okay, so now what you want to do if you're making the bikini top, you want to go ahead and make yourself a second one the same way that you made the first one. So you can rewind the video and just make your second cup. If you were not trying to do the bikini, then you didn't have to do this half double crochet chain 1 row. You just might want to line this bottom so that it's easier for you to attach this to whatever project that you have. But all right, so I went on ahead and quickly weaved in my tails and cut that middle tail that I crocheted over on both of my cups. And now it's time to make our ties for the bikini top. So I'm kind of making this one general. You can make your ties as long as you want, but for the top portion, this is going to be a double tie like in the photo. So it's going to come down from one side, go in and out of these, and then come back up. So it's kind of got to be double the length. So I'm doing, for these top two ties, I'm doing 200 chains for those. And then also I'm making this bottom one pretty general, so I'm gonna make another one of 200 chains. So I'm basically just making 3 chains that are 200 chains long, but you just want to make sure that it's long enough for you to have some space left over, that you can still tie your ties around you. So go ahead and make your 3 chains for your ties, and then we will weave them in and we will be all finished. All right, so I made all 3 of my strings and they're all 200 long. Oh my goodness, I left some long tails here, wasting yarn. Anyway, I'm just gonna cut these so that they're all even. Where are my real scissors? Okay, yeah, I just like to make sure that these are even. I might put tassels on this one because I might sell this one later. But anyway, so yeah, all we're doing is weaving this string in and out of, it might be easier with this, weaving our string in and out of the bottom and the top, I mean of the bottom of both cups. So I'm just gonna make sure that that's pretty much even there. Boom. And then we're going to do the 2 tops. So these 2 little holes that I made before, I'm going to use those. So I'm gonna come in from the back like this, pull the string in from the back, and then back, pull the string back to the back. And then just repeat that on the other cups. So let me just make sure these 2 strings are about even. Okay. And then again, I'm going to pull this string from the back to the front in the first hole, and then from the front to the back in the second hole. And then just make sure that my strings are even. All right, and so we are finished now. So thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for future videos. I'm probably gonna make some matching bikini bottoms for this piece with some of the similar stitching. So look out for that video coming out soon, and I'll see you on the next video.